I'm your host, Ash Gravestone, and welcome to the Gravestone Files.
Hey Tony, what's this cave called again? Andrew said to Tony as he looked deep into his map. The sound of the diner around them is lively and buzzing with energy. Plenty of suits drinking their coffee and littering their clothes with crumbs from their toast. Hell's Bend, Tony said while marking routes he'd been told were the safest. They say no one's ever fully mapped it. Looks like we'll be making history, boys. Tony glances around the table to gauge everyone's faces. Andrew, Tony's brother, a hyperactive type, never seems to shut off, a true adrenaline junkie. From extreme mountain climbing to solo skydiving, if it's extreme, Andrew's probably done it. Jared, a longtime neighborhood friend of the brothers, quiet, observant and level-headed, a chef by trade. The man in charge of cooking and rationing the food and water for the excursion. Francis, an internet friend, met the others through their favorite RPG game, Ruin Escape. The group medic, real life and in game as he is a top RN for his respective hospital. Tony, aforementioned brother of Andrew, a natural leader, the group's foundation, brave and unbothered. Once the city mayor of Druve turned average citizen after an incident where higher-ups attempted to pay him off for certain bills to be pushed. History? Francis says, looking down at the half-drawn map. Sounds like a death sentence. I mean, this place is called Hell's Bend for fuck's sake. There's been plenty of people to come in and leave. We'll also be in that statistic. We'll just have a little more exploring to do. Hence why Jared's coming along. That way you two fat asses don't eat all the food in the first hour. Tony laughs while waving over the waitress. I'm not even fat, dickhead, Francis says under his breath while Andrew and Tony laughs. The diner's still buzzing with life, feels as if it's come to a brief pause when the jukebox stops playing the same 10 songs over and over. The buzzing, luminous lights overhead flicker with wear. Could we get a check, please? Tony says to the waitress. Who's picking up the tab this time? Tony asks while looking around at all the other enlarged stomachs that often fill off his generosity. I think it should be Jared, says Francis boldly. Jared begins reaching in his pocket to pull out his wallet before Andrew stops him. Why? It should be you, Francis. You never pay, man. I literally paid last time, Francis says. Amidst the commotion, neither Francis or Andrew sees Jared pull the money from his pocket and slip it to the waitress with a smile. You guys really are pathetic, you know that? Tony says, shaking his head. Andrew, you pay next time, and Francis pays next, then me. The group gathers their things and heads out the door as Tony leaves a nice tip. 2. Dirt underneath the tires swirl as the friction of rubber tears through the foliage. Coming to a stop, the group looks towards the opening ahead. Well, the cave isn't going to map itself, Andrew says, opening the front passenger side door. The group follows suit and gets out of the car, grabbing gear. Hey Andrew, you lazy piece of shit, come carry your share of the load, dickhead, Francis yells through the soft, brisk air. Hey, Jared, need any extra help there? Tony asks. Nah. I think I got it, Tom. Maybe just shut the 2 chihuahuas up, huh? Jared says with a grin on his face. At the entrance of the cave, the group huddle around. Jared, you think you'll fit? The entrance is about as narrow as your mom's ass. Francis chortles to himself. I guess we'll find out. Jared says as he pushes his pack through the tight entrance. The sound of Jared's climbing gear scrapes the walls with a metallic chatter as he pushes his way through. Well, if he can fit... Tony smacks the back of Francis's head before he could even finish his sentence. One by one, the other three men follow behind Jared and enter the cave. Once inside, the narrow passageway leads to a cavernous opening. A bunch of empty cans and old food wrappers litter the cave. Hell's Bend favors no one. Consider death as you traverse, spray painted at the entrance of another tight squeeze in the back left side of the cavern. Made to make us feel welcomed, huh? Francis says while squeezing through the hole. Andrew follows and Jared stops Tony at the hole. Hey, you sure about this? Jared says. Does Francis have to clean old people's asses on the job? Tony says, laughing and grabbing Jared's shoulder. Then let's do it. I trust you, man. Jared says, patting Tony's back. 3. After about 2 hours of traversing the cave, the group find themselves at the edge of a massive hole. Tony shines his light down the hole with no bottom in sight. Looks like someone has to go down, and I don't see any of you jumping at the opportunity, Andrew says as he begins setting up his rope and harness. I'll head down. If my rope isn't long enough to reach the bottom, I'll radio and you guys will pull me back up, yeah? Andrew says as he begins rappelling down the rope. It's weird. The map doesn't show a hole. I wonder where it came from, Tony says to Francis and Jared. Maybe a sinkhole? Maybe we made a wrong turn? Maybe a hole was always here and the people on the forum forgot to mention it. They all say to one another as the air grows silent. 6 minutes pass. Hey Andrew, you found the bottom yet? Francis yells down to the seemingly endless void. No response. Andrew, Tony yells after not hearing anything back. Nothing. Andrew, you copy? Jerry radios. Silence. The three look around at one another. A panic washes over the trio, Tony making sure not to show it. Tony knows if he cracks, the others will too. Tie me up, Tony says to the others. Let me go. We can't lose the map guy too. Someone's got to get us out of here and get help. Plus, if he's injured, I'd figure it'd be best if I made it to him before anyone else does, Francis says. A long pause looms amongst them. 5 minutes. We don't hear from you in 5, we're coming in after you, Tony says. 5, Jared says, helping Francis lower over the edge. You think Andrew's just fucking with us? Jared asks as he fixes his gear. Hard to say. It wouldn't be the first time, Tony says. 4 minutes pass. Andrew? Francis? You guys there? Jared radios. I'm here, guys. Andrew's voice comes through the static in the air. Andrew? Where are you? Where's Francis? Jared asks as he paces back and forth. Silence. Fuck this, I'm going down, Tony says, tying himself up. I'm coming with you. It's best if we stick together at this point. Obviously splitting up isn't helping us, Jared exclaims as he ties himself up. Okay, we stick side by side. Stuck, like glue, Tony says as they both begin to descend. Tony looks at his watch. The time? 16:02. 4. Slowly rappelling down their ropes, Tony and Jared look all around them. The walls closing in around them as the slick rocks slide against their gear. Their flashlights shine through the darkness. Is it just me or does it feel like this is never gonna end? Jared says as his eyes meet Tony's. There has to be a bottom. A bottomless hole to the Earth's core doesn't exist, he says with determination. It's just, we've been going down and this is a 1,000-foot long rope, man. We should have hit something by now, right? Tony doesn't respond to Jared's concern out of his own concerns. Looking down at his watch. The time? 19:32. We've been going down for 2.5 hours? How the hell haven't we run out of rope yet? Tony thinks to himself before noticing a small crevice in the wall. Hey Jared, think we have something. 5. Swinging themselves over to the crevice, they notice something that they haven't seen in a while. A light. Tony grabs the crevice and slides his foot into it, then slides his body through. Jared following suit. Shit! Jared yells after the sound of some rustling. Jared? You okay? Tony yells, pulling Jared through the hole. Yeah, I'm good. Bad news. Our food is at the bottom of the hole, Jared says, sitting against the wall with his head resting in his palms. Shit. Looks like we're gonna have to find the boys quick then, Tony says. Tony grabs Jared's hand and pulls him to his feet, dusting off his back. Walking towards the light, Tony and Jared quickly notice what the source of the light is. The dying fire crackles as the remains of Andrew's clothes burn to a crisp. What the fuck, man? Jared stutters. Something he only does when he's genuinely freaked out. Those are Andrew's clothes, dude. Why would he burn his clothes, Tone? Get a grip, man. There has to be a good reason. His bag isn't here, so he has to be fine, Tony says, trying to reason with Jared. Tony shines his light down the long corridor just beyond his brother's clothes burning. Andrew? Francis? You copy? Jared talks into the static hanging in the air.
You... all is...
Francis? Where are you guys? Do you copy? Over? Hello? Tony grabs the radio from Jared. Francis, you there, buddy? Tony says. Dead static. Shit, Tony says, looking down at his watch. The time? 22:36. Not possible. I just looked at my watch less than 10 minutes ago. No fucking way it's been 3 hours already. What the hell's going on? Hey, Tone? What's the map say? Jared says, snapping Tony out of his train of thought. I've been marking as Tony says as Jared slumps against the wall, seemingly falling unconscious. I guess I'll stay up then, pal, Tony says, shutting off Jared's light. Time 00:47. The darkness around them oddly feels comforting. The cool wall feels good against Tony's back. His eyes slowly shut as the sound of embers pop through the silence. 6. The strong smell of iron wakes Tony from his shallow sleep. Time 03:03. Sitting up and rubbing his eyes, Tony groans as he grabs his flashlight. The sound of grinding and slicing breaking the silence. Jared? What are you doing, buddy? Tony asks, not sure if his eyes are fully adjusted yet. Jared, back turned, facing the crevice they had entered from, was surrounded by a pool of blood. His arm moving back and forth violently. His breathing labored. Jared? What the fuck are you doing, man? Tony? A voice bellowed from the shadows. Jared's head shot back, making eye contact with Tony. Jared's eyes were bloodshot, full of anger. Jared stood up as Tony began making his way towards the darkness. Tony finally seeing what Jared was doing. Jared, your fucking fingers, man, Tony said, pointing at his hands. His left pinky was completely severed. His left index finger was hanging on by a small piece of flesh. It looked as if all you had to do was give it a small tug and you could tear it off. His pointer finger hanging from his mouth. His lips adorning a terrible smile. His own blood leaking from his mouth. Run, Tony! The same voice from before ripping Tony from his trance. Tony's footsteps patter against the water-soaked rock as he runs deeper into the cave. The sound of the ravenous footsteps and maniacal breathing follow closely behind him. What the fuck, man? What the fuck is going on? Tony yells to himself. A loud crash could be heard from behind Tony, causing him to briefly look back and then dead stop. Some sort of rock slide causing the ceiling to collapse trapped Jared underneath. The only thing visible was his completely mangled skull, his eyeballs completely knocked out of their socket. A piece of brain scattered the floor in front of his face. The blood-soaked floor shimmered a sickly deep red. Somehow, it feels as if Jared's eyes are still transfixed on Tony's. Fuck. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Oh fuck, Jared. Tony screamed. Tony, wiping tears from his face, turns towards the small hole in the floor and looks down. Shit. It's a dead end. What the fuck am I supposed to do now? Tony? Tony, do you copy over? The radio chirping from Tony's pocket. Andrew? Francis? Is that you? Tony says, sliding his back down the rocky wall. You're breaking up. Where are you and Jared? Andrew and I are at the bottom of the hole. Andrew's leg is busted up pretty bad and our rope fell. We got the food you guys dropped, but that was almost 4 days ago, Francis said in a worried voice. What? How are Andrew's clothes burning up here? Tony thought to himself. Can you hear me? Jared is dead and I'm trapped in a cavern by a cave collapse. No food, no water. Flashlight batteries are running dead. I think it's Tony, but he's Silence. The radio batteries went dead. The flashlight flickering in the darkness looks like a strobe light at your typical rave. Tony takes his cigarettes out of his pocket and lights one as the light dies out. Tony? A soft whisper comes from the darkness as a tear rolls down Tony's face. Yeah, Jared?
That was Into the Bins of Hell, written and copyrighted by our co-host Ash Gravestone. And I gotta tell you, dear wanderers, it is one thing to deal with claustrophobic caves and not knowing if it is light or day while the walls are closing in around you, especially exploring an endless depth. But it is a whole nother thing when one of your compadres thinks their fingers are quite delicious. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, maybe take a gander at our other episodes from season 1 or episode 1 of this season, The Mothman Prophecy, written by author Raymond M.T. Cummings. We will be featuring other authors, some you may know, some you may not, in the near future. Until then, see you next time, Wonder. Salutations. Good luck out there.